What's up, lovely YouTube people? Today is a very special day because here we have with us this gorgeous blast from the past, which is the CLK63 AMG Black Series. And if you know me, anything Black Series I absolutely adore. This thing is one of the very special cars produced by AMG, and I'll go into the details. You already know this car probably, but seeing it now is, I think, even more special than seeing it back in 2008 when it was released, because really they don't make cars like this anymore. And you see all sorts of supercars and hypercars and muscle cars, but this thing, there's just something about AMG cars, and in specific Black Series cars, they just have a really special sensation to them that you can't really put into words. So let's have a look at this thing and see what the hype is all about. I put on my gloves because it is a really cold day, but it's worth it because we have this absolute beauty with us. But in traditional Black Series fashion, I love looking at their flares. I think this is their signature, being a Black Series car, is the fact that it looks like a wide body, but it's not aftermarket. It is all factory, and it's all done with purpose, precision, and done by the guys at AMG. And this is just stunning to look at. I mean, it's subtle yet aggressive. It's not as aggressive as the C63 Black Series, especially with the aero kit, with the wing and all the canards and stuff, but still the carbon fiber used on this car, I mean, considering also that this is again 2008, the use of carbon fiber on this car is just something special, because you really needed to be very unique to have a lot of carbon fiber on your car in 2008, especially being from factory. So looking at it from here is also awesome. You can see the radiator from the back and the carbon lip over here, but again, just admiring those wide curves on the car. It's just so beautiful. Now AMG basically built this car to compete with Porsche's track weapon at the time, which was the GT3, and AMG really needed something that's really a driver's car, not just a powerful engine, loud car. But this car is even more special, I think, than they anticipated it to be, because they created something that combines a lot of the features that car people like, not just AMG fans, but I speak for myself when I say this car is a German muscle car, and it combines, if you love American muscle, if you love European sports cars, this has a bit of everything. And honestly, it makes noise better than most supercars of today. The noise that these Black Series make in general, whether it's a C63, SLS Black, CLK Black, they are just phenomenal from factory. Of course, aftermarket exhausts and things tend to amplify that sound, and for some people it sounds better, but even from factory, realistically, they sound phenomenal. And not only that, the steering feel, considering that at the time there was no electric steering, it was all hydraulic. But not just that, some hydraulic are different than other hydraulic. These were really connected, and you really felt this car move in one piece. The front end of this car, considering 2008 is when it was released, you still can't believe it. It's 2022 now, and I get in the car and you're like, wow, it's incredible. It's connected way ahead of its time, let's just say. Now, I know this car is already incredibly special, being a Black Series and being a very unique Black Series in that sense, but it also has a few tricks up its sleeve. Mainly under the hood, it's got a Weistec Stage 3 Supercharger, and this thing actually produces almost 300 horsepower more than in stock form, and that's ridiculous considering that this car is almost 4,000 pounds. There she is. There's the beauty. Here's the Supercharger with its snout, and you got the oil air separator, oil cap, anyways, oil filter cap. Anyways, I love this M156 engine. It's basically the same engine that's on the C63 Black Series with differences, and C63 and CLK63. Any 6.2 liter M156 car has basically almost the same engine, with the exception of forged internals and stuff for Black Series. But the bolts on this were prone to fail, and that's what people worried about. But however, Mercedes did take care of that during, I don't know, halfway during the production life cycle of the engine, and so it wasn't really an issue. I don't know the exact date, but I want to say after 2011, 2012 they took care of that. And a lot of people with the older model engines had recalled the engine and changed the bolts, so it was just something of a concern. It didn't really affect all engines, but people just did it on their M156 just as a precautionary measure. I love also the fact that from factory you have this strut bar, which is lovely, makes the chassis more stiff, more responsive, again more connected. Because this thing has a supercharger in it, obviously it has larger cooling, and it's not just the supercharger that it has, but it also has carbon fiber drive shaft. It has the long tube headers, which I don't know we can see from here. It has a complete exhaust system from headers all the way down to the exhaust tips, and also it's got some gorgeous HRE wheels, which are lightweight wheels despite the fact that they look pretty heavy. They're not, they're lightweight. And it's got Michelin, not Cup 2s, it's got the Pilot Super Sport tires, which are good enough and gives you a bit more room to play around. So let's get to the interior, which I really love. 2008 feels like yesterday. Anyways, nothing special really crazy about the door. It is pretty heavy, no carbon fiber sills or anything like that. It's not eye-catchy from the beginning, but you get to this part. The steering wheel is absolutely wonderful. It's chunky, the aluminum pedals are really nice and crisp to shift gears with, and the centerpiece here is lovely. It's got the Black Series badge to remind you again you're in a Black Series. Another thing that I mentioned before, which is the carbon fiber. For this car to have that much carbon fiber from 2008 is absolutely wonderful, because really cars needed to be very special back then to have that much carbon fiber. The steering wheel is also very distinct for the CLK Black Series. It's kind of a flat bottom and a flat edge. It's a cool design, and it feels great to drive and to hold. The gauge cluster there is like a carbon fiber design as well. This thing opens, you can put coins, and also for your cigarette lighter, which you don't really use anymore. You got 2 cup holders here, and put coins and whatever inside. And here you have the glove compartment, all right, which you have the iPod wire in. And by the way, the iPod wire here, a lot of people think the iPod wire in the CLK Black is only to accommodate the older iPod model. That's not the case. Mercedes can easily just change that, and you can have the modern iPod connector or iPhone and whatever. Another thing is this strange little holder or tray here. I don't know what you really use this for, but still you have extra storage space. And yeah, as far as the roof goes, they did talk, by the way, while designing this car, because of the weight, it's just 4 pounds lighter than the actual normal CLK 63, and that's because of the strut bars, because of the flares, because of things like that. And those things do add weight, but they add performance, so it kind of evens out, and it still is a much more performance oriented car. But they were talking also about having a carbon fiber roof for this car, and that's from Mercedes AMG as a factory option, and they didn't really do that, which I don't know why. I'm assuming it's because of the increased cost. A lot of people are annoyed the fact that these are blank buttons and the fact that they should have changed anything. I don't mind that, because again, it is based on the CLK platform originally, but I absolutely like the fact that they have just one button, which is the ESP off for you to turn off, which is lovely. Another thing I really like, which a lot of people kind of contradict, is this little shifter over here, which kind of is like a race car shifter. I don't know, it's I've never seen it on a race car, but I don't know why I just associate it with a race car shifter. What's really cool is that back in the day you didn't really have much options. You just had comfort or sport and manual. That's all you had. You had park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then you put it in manual. You shift from here, from the paddle shifts, okay, or you can use the actual lever over here. Not that you'd want to, because it's really tiny. But yeah, you turn off traction. It's very basic. All the features in this car scream either on or off, so not too many options. Now you have 10 different driving modes in modern day sports cars and supercars. Okay, so forget all the talking, all the BS, all the stuff and advertising of this car. This is why you love this car, is when you get behind the wheel and you actually drive it. You listen to the sound, you feel the sensation of the drive. I love these cars for this main purpose, and I think you will too. So now let's start the car. Okay, and again, simply, you put it in drive, manual mode, traction control off, handbrake down, and that's all there is to it. We're good to go. Just a quick note, I always put this car in Dino Mode when I want to drive it hard, because it's not like the C63 Black Series where you just push the button and everything turns off. It kind of, when you turn off the ESP in the CLK Black Series, it kind of keeps the traction control a little bit on, unless you really go completely off and put it in Dino Mode where it disconnects everything. It just disables ABS, disables everything. So we're gonna start it now. It's gonna tell you ABS completely off. Yeah, so it tells you ABS completely off, and operative ESP, everything, and it gives you this little warning light. So this little warning light is actually more important than that ESP warning light. Anyways, let's get going. I love you. I love this thing. What a sound! Monster, absolute monster. Thankfully I have all these roads to play with here. I don't really know what to do. This is like the perfect thing, to have a Black Series and all these open roads. See, I like driving this car on roads like this, where you're allowed to do this, of course, and even on a track. I don't think I'd want to do lap times in this car. It can, it's very capable, because it's really very responsive and very good at cornering. But I just want to have fun with this car. When I get in this car, I just want to misbehave, and that's typical standard Black Series fashion. They're not made for adults, they're made for kids who want to have fun, and that's me, and I'll always be a kid that wants to have fun in a car. So let's go for I really love the way this thing drives. Very, very old school. They really don't make cars like this anymore. I know we all like the Black Series name and the badge, and that it's cool and it's a wide body and it looks nice, and it's a rare and limited production and we don't see them a lot, and etc, etc. I get it. But really, with Black Series models in general, you don't understand how special they are, even in modern terms. You don't understand how special they are until you get behind the wheel of one and you push it. Not just get behind the wheel of one and drive it in comfort mode, no, but go to an actual controlled environment, whether it's a racetrack, whether it's a runway, empty runway, or something where you have permission, and actually drive the car hard. That's really the beauty of all Black Series models. The fact that they look good and limited and all that stuff is great, but driving these cars is just lovely. Come on, talk to me. Terrific. Yeah, man, I don't know. know, this car will get me in trouble. All Black Series cars will get me in trouble. I want to go back to the private roads now. I feel like she's too much for the main road. I'm not even gonna bother telling you the performance figures like 500 horsepower and the torque and all that stuff, because I'm gonna write those down on the in the below the thumbnail. But this car isn't about that, isn't about the numbers, it's about the way it makes you feel. I really love Black Series for their flares, for their design, the way they make the body panels. It's just beautiful. So subtle but so aggressive at the same time. I mean, most people seeing this car on the road, they're not going to be like, wow, this is an unbelievably unique car. But for real car people, especially AMG nuts like me, you guys, I would freak out. I love seeing this thing. I mean, I would probably get more excited seeing this than any Lamborghini on the road, in all honesty. I just appreciate the way they do things with this car. This is actually one of the most desired AMG cars at the moment. Fewer than 700 of these produced worldwide. However, it's a bit confusing because fewer than 700 were produced worldwide, but the US got an allocation of about 350 cars. Which is funny because the bigger brother of this car, the C63 AMG, released in 2011/12, only had 800 units, which is 100 units more than this worldwide, but only 77 came to the US and Canada together. So it's interesting that even though this is a less worldwide production by 100 units, the US got an allocation of about 350 cars, which is quite a lot considering there's only 700 in the whole world. In general, I like cars with side pillars, but on the CLK Black Series there are no side pillars, and I'm still surprised that I don't mind it. Normally I would be really annoyed by this, and I'll show you why, but I'm not at all. I think it really works for the car. It just swoops in like one piece from here all the way back without the use of the pillar support. So I do like the pillars, but also this works great without it. So again, just another interesting feature on the CLK Black Series. I love the fact that these are sport seats and kind of like bucket seats. And oh yeah, one more thing to mention is because the seatbelt is positioned too far back, you have this thing that pops up here that lets you grab it when you get inside, which is really cool. Otherwise you really have to stretch pretty far back to get it. But yeah, the seat is not really fully electric. You can move it back and forth manually, but you can adjust the back electronically. You can also adjust it from here to fill in the gaps to suit basically your comfort. In the rear trunk, the max capacity is 50 kilograms, 110 pounds. That's literally the weight of 2 luggage for some people. But anyways, that's not what you buy this car for. I love also the fact that it has a strut bar in the rear. I'm not going to show you the trunk too much because it's a bit messy with my drone bag and stuff. But yeah. Now this car, before being purchased by my brother Seng, it belonged to my good friend Ricky, who owns Platinum Automotive, and they really went crazy with this car. They supercharged it stage 3, so you get to stage 1, 2 and 3, which gives you the max power. It's got the downpipes, it's got the full exhaust system, stainless exhaust system from Weistec, it's got the billet pulleys, it's got a billet transmission as well, so to handle all that power, because in all honesty the transmission on these cars doesn't handle that much power if they're stock, especially over stage 2. I mean, stage 2 is powerful enough, and stage 3 is even more powerful. So yeah, I love the way this car was done. You get a lot of jobs that are done flimsy. This car was done 100% right. I mean, no issues, no tuning issues, none of that. And that's part of the reason also I'm scared of tuning a car beyond its capability, but this thing handles it very, very well. And it's just a blast to drive. I mean, in stock form they're one heck of a car to drive, so imagine driving it with 300 extra horsepower. It's just insane, and all to the rear wheels, which is wonderful. Another quick things I want to mention very quickly is the fact that, for example, on my C63 Black Series, the battery is in the back trunk. It's very easily accessible. I've changed it twice, I think. Easily done. On this car, not so easy. On this car, it's under this panel here in the back seats, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to get to. So yeah, hopefully the battery lasts very long on this car, because it is a shitty process to get in and out. Another thing is, let's see this little light that's on the door. So when you open the rear trunk, all right, this light on the door lets you know that the trunk is open, which is really cool. I mean, it's an interesting feature. So whether it's just, so you can open it from here, but regardless where you open it from, if the trunk is open, it'll light up over there, which is awesome. Yeah, I don't really want to talk too much about the interior and stuff like that. I really just, all my brain is thinking of is drive this car. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue driving. Okay, thank you. I love the AMG also logo etched in the leather seat. All right. It is moving up to 4th gear. That Supercharger is a monster. Yeah, I miss this driving style. I miss this heavy steering wheel. I miss this raw feel of a big engine, small car. I'm really not a fan of the downsizing of engines, but I know it's for a purpose, and I don't know if AMG will be AMG the way we know it in the future. So I don't know, but this car just love it. The thing is, with the Supercharger, you can be in 3rd gear, all right, and low, very low RPMs, and then give it a kick, and it will snap. It will suddenly snap. And I know that's dangerous for some people, but I absolutely love that about this car. I love the extra power, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I still keep thinking, should I supercharge my car? Should I supercharge my Black Series? And honestly, this is like a big dilemma for me, but on the one hand, I love the originality. I absolutely love the originality, and I think that surpasses my want for the extra power. But man, I mean, it just works. It works for the car. And the long tube headers with that beautiful exhaust system, built gearbox, you can really feel the built transmission. If the transmission of this car wasn't built, I don't think the clutch or the whole transmission wouldn't last. So yeah, thankfully that's there. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I get really excited spending time with cars like this, because not only are they not going to be made anymore, and not only were they very unique even in the time of production, and you don't really get to see these things realistically on the road often, but also because of that initial number that I gave you, let's say 350 allocated to the US and 700 worldwide. There's already been a few accidents, and that number has declined significantly. I don't know exactly how much the number is, but I know at least 5 of these in the US that have been in pretty bad wrecks. I don't know if they've been salvaged, but some of them have been in horrible accidents. And I'm not really surprised, because if you get in this thing, you have to tame it. You can't just get in and put your foot down and whatever, hope for the best. No, you really have to drive this car. And it does have a good steering, it does have good control, but having that slower gear shifter, you really have to plan ahead, let's say 2 steps ahead driving this car. Otherwise it's going to bite you in the ass, and you don't want that. And that goes for all Black Series models. Maybe not the new AMG GT Black Series, which I haven't driven, but definitely, let's say if I was going to compare something like this to the GTR Pro, which has 9 different levels of traction, you can basically adjust it according to your experience and expertise, and you can make the car drive as much as you're capable. With this, however, you turn off traction control, it's only got 2 modes. It's on and off. If it's off, you're on your own, God be with you. But that's not how it is with modern cars. They really help you. There's a lot of nannies, a lot of babysitting features in cars that, rightfully so, you know, it's to prevent you from getting into accidents, like I mentioned has happened with some of these, but it takes away something from the car. It lets you know it's not as rewarding. With these cars, with AMG models and Black Series models in specific, even stock form without the supercharger, you go from point A to B, it's an adventure, and you get excited because you made it. It's a reward. Lovely, lovely piece of machinery, really. To show you, it is freezing cold right now. Even the car actually has some snow on it right here. That's actually not snow, this is ice. The car has actual ice. The Black Series is frozen, so yeah, it's just ridiculously cold. But again, it's worth it. One main characteristic for all Black Series owners, you already know that because they have such big flares, a lot of the stones and chips that are picked up from the front tire, especially when they get hot, the rubber, they all go here. So it's nice to see that this has a PPF, the paint protective film, on the side. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video on the CLK63 AMG Black Series. Genuinely a phenomenal car, really cool. Yeah, it is a absolute tire slayer, especially with this supercharger installed. Till next time, ciao.